Welcome to Season 3 of the Biz Show, sponsored by Invest Choir. Discover what's next with this insightful podcast. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa.
Hi, Barry. How are you?
Hey, Lisa, I am good. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms
Happy
there.
Mother's Day to you.
Thank you so much. It's been a blessed day. Been spoiled, even though my kids are afar, two out of the three. So I got flowers on my doorstep, FaceTimes. Yeah, it was all good.
Very, very nice. I guess my day's coming next month.
It is. And the months keep flying by, so it'll be here in the blink of an eye.
Yes, it will be. Well,
Yeah.
welcome everybody to episode 5 of the Biz Show. This one is a unique one because we actually are going to dive into the mind of Lisa Manifold here. And
Oh, wow. I didn't even know this was coming.
yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is really we want to know what it's like about being a woman entrepreneur, right? The challenges that you have faced through, your growth to where you are today. Not just the challenges, but also the perks and everything and stuff like that, right?
Right. And it's
So
very fitting being that it's Mother's Day weekend. So for
exactly. Now you see the tie-in, right?
all the women out there that are go-getters and entrepreneurs, this is for you. We need to celebrate you not only as a mom, but being able to juggle the most important job in the world, which is raising children, and also being a successful businesswoman.
Yeah, what's it like being a woman entrepreneur, right? There's differences, definitely.
Definitely.
So let me just pose that question to you, Lisa. I've been an entrepreneur, you've been an entrepreneur. I don't see everything you do, and you and I sometimes see things completely different. And we sit down and have conversations about it. You give me your point of view, I give you my point of view. And
Right.
they're different. Not that either one's right or wrong, but what's it like?
Yeah, I think that not that I'm that old, but I think that
Well,
I
I'm
was
not saying that.
no, I mean, I think that I was a little bit exposed to being that my parents, it was very much, my mother took a subservient role and was raised to love the idea of being a homemaker, for us children. While my dad went out and worked, he was the breadwinner. He was supposed to bring home the bacon, so to speak. And so that was sort of the role models that I had seen growing up. Now, granted, by the time I hit my, 18, 20s or whatnot, things rapidly changed from how my mother grew up. So I was really exposed to the power of unlimited thinking because I read the Unlimited Power book by Anthony Robbins. And so that really opened my mind, having read that at the age of 18, to the possibility of being an entrepreneur. Sometimes our role models and mentors don't come from our direct family, mothers or fathers, but it could be an outside source, a teacher, a friend, a relative, or for me in this case, it was Anthony Robbins and his book that I don't even know how I got my hands on it, but I decided to read it and I decided, you know what? I can pretty much do whatever I set my mind to do and just plug away at it and be successful. So I created this mindset at a very young age of 18 that and I'm not really knowing what niche I wanted to fall into, but being that I got married and my husband wanted to own a business and run a construction company, I said, why not? Let's give it a try. So anyway, so it was just very interesting because I just really felt like it didn't matter that I was a woman, that I had equality
Have
in
you
owning a company.
have you noticed any differences of being a woman in business versus a man being in? Have you noticed any differences to the way you're treated, to the business that you've gotten? Have you got low bearing fruit? Have you got high bearing fruit? Have people kind of said, she doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. I'm going to go with this guy instead. I mean, have you felt any of that?
For sure, yes. I think that because um, my my personal nature, now I can't speak, to this point for every single woman out there, but my personal nature comes across very soft and gentle and nurturing, like femininity. And so I think I am mistaken about my aptitude or my ability to perform. And it could just be a subconscious belief or thing that maybe a man, that I'm selling to may have. So, they think that I'm too kind or I'm going to be too soft and not aggressive enough in negotiations or in the representation of a deal for them. So,
Well, they just
um,
don't know you then.
they don't know me. So yeah, I would
Right.
have to say that that definitely comes to play. Absolutely. And then there's also circumstances where there's a woman in the situation, husband, wife, whatever, and the woman may not want to work with a female because of insecurities or just not wanting, a female in the picture for the next 30, 60, 90 days of representation. So, you deal with so many personalities. So
Have you ran
does become,
into, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, sometimes it becomes a disadvantage. Absolutely.
So we've always heard the saying, oh, it's a man's world out there.
Yeah.
Have you ever run into that? And has that ever been a barrier or a roadblock for you?
Yeah, I would say in certain professions, I think it is definitely more prevalent to have a man. I got inspired by a couple of my kids' friends because their parents, the female, was a pilot. And in the industry of flying airplanes, I think you mostly come across men, and then the woman was more like the flight
True.
attendant. But to see Anthony's friend's mom was a pilot and to see that being, more normal these days, having female pilots, I was like very inspired that, what, it doesn't matter if you're female or male. And of course, now we're in 2025 and a lot has changed during COVID and there's just so much more acceptance with whatever species you are in any profession.
Species. All right.
Species,
You
I don't
know,
know.
I can attest to that being a pilot myself.
I know.
Um, in the military, it was all males, right? Back when I was in man, because that was back in the 80s, and women weren't allowed to do anything more than a desk job back then.
Right.
However, um, later when I transitioned out of helicopters and into airplanes, and that was actually in still the late 90s. Um, of all the people that were becoming pilots, I probably knew about 100, and there was one woman.
Wow. Oh my,
And she killed herself flying. She had a bad landing and crashed the plane, and boom. And then everybody jumped on her. Oh, she was a woman pilot. She didn't know what she was doing.
so
And
that's what
she
said. Oh,
and I was very disappointed and sad. And when I talked to people, I said, "Why do you say that?"
yeah.
I said, she's just as capable as I am or you are. Something happened, right? So it's not necessarily pilot error that crashed the plane. What? And then NTSB had a investigation and stuff like that. And come to find out, she had a rudder failure, and she couldn't
Well,
control the plane.
yeah. I would think
So, hello.
think around that, like plane crashes, is it the pilot error or is it the plane, failing?
True.
Um,
And there's so many airplane issues and airport issues going on right now today, right?
uh,
Over in Newark and stuff like that. And that's a whole nother conversation that we can have. I don't want to go down that road, but
I know.
nonetheless.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, I mean, so you gotta, I have to guess, you probably gotta have extra credibility, right? In order to go up against, and maybe that's different today than it was 10 years ago, but your creds have to be dead on, spot on to make sure that you get the deal.
Yes, definitely. I mean, references and testimonials help concrete that for the party that you're selling to. So I like to have, solid testimonials and keep that, growing with every client that I represent so that, it's like I could show them that there's a commonality and a common thread amongst what people are saying about my ability and my services. So I think it's important to gather a growing testimonial list or reference list so that the clients could pull it up on google.com on your business page or whatnot. Because really, it's the clients, your past clients that speak the truth, right? About your services and your ability to sell. I can only tell them so much about what I can do for them. But it's,
Testimonials are gold.
yeah, exactly.
They are gold. Well,
Yeah.
I've done a little research, right? And I've, found out that women-owned businesses, when they're going for funding, they only get like 2% of funding.
Wow.
98% of the capital or the venture capital, investors and stuff like that invest in men-based businesses. So
So,
only 2%.
and that's not a discrimination at this point in time, right?
It's not a discrimination, it's just they're not there.
Oh,
And now I know there are programs out there for women-based businesses and minority-based businesses and things like that, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people are taking advantage of those things,
right. Interesting. Well, maybe
right?
they don't know that they're available either.
Well, I think that's it, right? I think, how do you, I've always said it, right? Here it comes. How do you know what you don't know? If you don't know what you don't know, and if you don't know what's out there, then how can you use it?
You know, it's so funny. Gender bias. I think I automatically say him. So if I'm asking them, oh, who's your boss? Can you have him call me? I
Oh,
catch myself saying that a lot. So I make sure if I'm typing an email, I say him or her, you know. But I think that's just an automatic, and I don't know where that comes from. Probably maybe from the way I was raised
the
or
way you're raised, I always go with them.
them.
Have them call me.
Have them call me. Yeah.
Because it is. I mean, you're right. Male by default, right? In the sense that, yeah, just everybody kind of thinks. It's funny because I actually work better with women than I do
Okay.
with men. Hence, you
Yeah.
and I are working together, right? So, um, and
The
I don't think
ego.
no, I don't actually. I don't think it's any more, or any less. I just prefer working with women more than men. Because
Okay.
the guys, they're like, oh, let's go to the bar, let's get a drink, let's go do this and let's go do that. And I'm like, I could care less about that stuff, man. I'm focusing on business, and let's get the job done.
Oh, yes.
And you want to go out and play rugby and smoke a cigar and have a whiskey
Oh,
bourbon and stuff like that.
yeah,
And I'm not interested. That's,
that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I so yeah, you run into that, the good old boys club, you know, after work, you gotta,
yeah,
in order to fit in, you gotta go hang out with them too, right?
you just hit the nail on the head. The good old boys club. Everywhere I go, there is one.
Right.
Do you guys
Yeah.
have a good old girls club?
We really don't, but I did have that same feeling. I think that's why we are a lot alike or get along so well because, you know, being a single mom entrepreneur, having to raise my kids and be there for them when they got out of school. When I got to the office, I did not want to chit chat. And a lot of females, I mean, now
Yeah.
men do it too, I'm sure, but um, will chat. They go to work to talk. They go to work to talk about what they did for the weekend or complain about, you know, something about their children or family life or something. And it's like I went to work and I put my head down and people I probably thought I was a, you know, snob or something because I didn't want to chit chat.
Well,
I just wanted to get in and get out.
I hear you. I feel you. I'm exactly the same way, right? And you know me, and just kind of, I'm structured. I'm not going to say I'm rigid because I think I'm flexible, but you and I, we meet up at the office, and then you get called away on calls and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there just waiting. Now I'm wasting my time because I'm like, waiting. What? But you're doing business. I mean, I don't hold that against you whatsoever at all.
Yeah,
But now
yeah.
I'm sitting there, well, crap, you know.
I know, exactly.
And so I see that, I feel that, and it's just, it is what it is. But business is business, and you can't let things get in the way, which kind of brings us to the next step, right? How do you balance your work life and your home life? You've got children, you've got work, you've got other family, stuff like that. I mean, we all have that. I have that too. But for a woman, it's a little, I don't know, maybe it's not different. Maybe it is different.
Yeah.
You have the floor on this one. Tell me.
Gosh, I know. I think my daughter's dealing with that too because she just had a baby, but it's like, oh, you just feel like there's certain responsibilities that automatically are yours, you know, like getting dinner on the table for your husband or your loved one. And so then it's like, oh my gosh, I ran out of hours of the day to even get to the grocery store. So it's just, it creates a lot of pressure, I think, because we're automatically thinking of the children and everything like that. Now, granted, there's a lot of Mr. Moms that do take care of the kids and do participate on an equal basis, or maybe even more so than the woman. So I think that those roles sometimes, nowadays are very mixed. But I think that it was just always the woman's responsibility to feel that pressure of like, I got to get home, I got to get dinner on the table, and and still work a full day. And
It's
also,
funny that you say it because I'm the cook in the family, right?
oh yeah, oh see,
So
yeah,
I feel that pressure myself
right,
because Tammy don't cook.
yeah. And being single, it's like I ask the guy if he knows how to cook because I'm like, okay, good, then we'll have an equal relationship. If the guy knows how to cook too, it's definitely a plus in the plus column because yeah, I think women carry all the burdens of all the worry. I don't know how it is. I don't know how much men worry, but I know women worry about just everything all the
I'm
time.
worrying about dinner. I'm already worried about tomorrow's dinner and what I'm going to cook for tomorrow.
Oh, see, okay.
So I'm like that, and the funny thing is, have you seen my Facebook page?
Can relate then.
I've got all these recipes, crock pots, one pans, and stuff like that,
Oh my God.
all over my. I got some really awesome recipes. I do them every week.
So
I
ladies and
typically put
men, you
two or
got to
three.
hit up Barry on his Facebook and you get a good recipe. We don't
There
need
are
cookbooks anymore.
there
We
are
got,
some good recipes.
I love when people post recipes because it's always good to incorporate something new,
I
right?
the best one I had was baked potato bacon soup.
Soup.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, it's a baked potato soup with bacon in. Oh my God, this thing was to die for.
that's,
I mean, we bought them in the past, like going to Albertson Safeway, and you buy their baked potato soup. And then I made my own. Oh my God, I want to throw the others out. We loved the others until we
oh,
had mine, and
oh,
then it's like,
wow.
oh, forget it, man. We got to make this now.
You mimicked it and you made it even better.
Yes. Well, I found a recipe that just worked well. And it's funny. It's made with frozen hash potato, the little frozen um,
That's,
hash potatoes. The little squares. You put the frozen in there. Use those, and then some bacon and some cream of was it cream of chicken? I can't remember. I have to look at
that's
the
the base.
recipe, but
Okay.
yeah, but it was really good. And then bacon bits and stuff like that. Yeah, perfect.
Oh my gosh. It's like a baked potato, but a soup. That sounds delicious.
Yeah. So let me ask you, do you get burned out? I mean, you're sitting there and you're trying to balance your work life and the kids and the responsibilities and dinner and work. And as I know
Oh,
as a real estate agent, you work all the time, right? So you don't really have any days off unless you specifically say I'm taking this day off. And
yeah.
weekends are the big days for you of showings and open houses and stuff like that. Do you ever
Can
get
be.
burned out?
Of course, of course. I think everyone gets burnt out in their jobs because if you're an entrepreneur, then you're going to want to work hours that are even off hours. So I think that I could tell I get burnt out when I start getting low patience level or short with a client, colleague, friend, or son or daughter.
Yeah.
Because not always are you going to, express it in the workforce, but in the work field, but you'll express it at home. And so, your poor loved ones take the brunt of it usually, typically. So yeah, I think burnout is definitely a real thing. And I know we've touched on it in previous podcasts, like, how do you maintain that balance and how important schedules are and staying committed to the schedules and saying no, certain things, like you said, to the good old boys club, maybe saying no to that. So I think you'd have to be very mindful. And I think like I said, it happens for men and women. Some men don't want to sit still, I've noticed, and they want to constantly be going because it makes them feel like they're doing their job, like they're being worthy of something. Where women, I think, could also have that attribute to their personality, but I think they love to have, if they have children, they love to be a mom. So I think they
You
want
know,
to make sure that they have that balance.
I agree with you, and I think we as a society are probably molded, early on in age from school, right? We learned about the caveman, and the man is the hunter. He's going to go out and he's going to get
Yeah,
the buffalo or whatever, right? And then
yeah,
the woman is the gatherer, right? She's going to collect the berries and the fruits and bring them back, and then she's going to do all the cooking and stuff like that, right? So we've
Right.
learned from a very young age, really from first grade on up about all this stuff. And then I think, society as a whole has in the past embraced that. I think today everybody's like, no, this is, I am who I am, and I'm going to do what I want to do now.
Oh, right. Exactly. Yeah. I
So,
was,
I mean, that's just an observation, an opinion of mine, and it could be
I
right, it
think,
could be wrong.
I think a lot of those beliefs or traditions, come from how we were raised, right? Who did we see as the hunter and gatherer in the family, or what were you raised by a single mom and she was doing everything? So
Yeah,
I
my
think,
mom was a homemaker,
oh, okay.
right? She did well. She did work, um, but I was already way gone and in the military, and even out of the military and back home. She really didn't start working, gosh, until 2000.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
and at 2000, I was already 40.
You were out of the house by then,
Oh,
hopefully.
I was already a house and married myself. Well,
Oh, wow.
let me ask you this. You mentioned, and I'm surprised at this, when you were 18, you read a book by Anthony Robbins.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at that. Just being of that age, have even known who Anthony Robbins is or anything like that, right? But my
Yes,
question,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
but my question is who are your role models? Specifically, do you have female role models or male role models? And who do you look to for inspiration and insight?
Wow, that is such a good question.
And I'm going to
Um,
guess that you have probably more male role models than you do female.
oh, well, there is one that stands out to me, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be the agent and now broker that I am. Unfortunately, he just passed away about a year ago, but he was the most interesting, dynamic individual. His name is Rick Jiha, and a
Yeah,
lot of the
I know of them.
yeah, a lot of the Keller Williams family know him because that's where I
Yeah,
started in real estate was at Keller, and
it's where we met.
exactly. And I had well, I was on a team, and my team lead said, "You're coming with me to Rick Jiha's presentation because he's going to teach you everything you need to know about real estate." And he really did. So he's my role model in life, not only in real estate, because he um he wanted to help people. Like he wanted to help people succeed. So he would do coaching and online virtually and had opened it up with no fee. Nobody had to pay for this. Anyone could join in on the the Zoom or the dial up or whatever and listen to him talk for 30 minutes, an hour. You could listen for 10 minutes if you had a full busy day, but just to hear him talk. And his whole goal was to really provide insight into your own, how are you coming across to your clients? Are you operating at full potential? And so he was definitely a coach, a leader. He touched so many lives and had such a following. If you ever see his Facebook, I mean, he's got so many people that are just so grateful to have ever met him. And so I am grateful to have met him. And he's definitely the number one person that I've ever come across in my entire life. Like I hold him up there close to God. And so
Uh,
I just think that he's an incredible man, not only the way he affected me, but just to watch how many lives he has affected. His funeral was actually held at the Oakland Coliseum,
oh wow.
and he
So
had
it's huge.
Megatron showing his life and had life-size photos, and it was just incredible. So he's a role
Okay,
model of
so
mine. Yeah.
he's your number one role model. Do you have any female role models? And I'm asking this
Yeah.
for a specific reason.
I wish I could say, somebody that's really prominent in the eye, in the public eye, and that's really not coming um, to my forefront of my mind. But except, Oprah Winfrey once said, and I always like get touched by maybe just one thing somebody says. She once said, if you do what you're passionate about as a career, you will definitely succeed. So if you're finding that you're having failure in your career, it could be because you're not passionate about it. And she did mention that when you're a child, like whatever you enjoy doing the most as a child, you will be able to incorporate that into a career, hopefully, and you'll definitely be successful because it's something that you enjoy doing. Maybe you played by yourself and there was, something that you would always do. And I always enjoyed like rearranging my room, like the furniture in my room and
Interior
decorating my
decorator.
room. Yeah, and I kind of
See,
like come
mine was
into play
music.
with, yeah.
Mine was music, right? I learned to play
Oh,
guitar when I was 5 years old.
and then you started a band.
Yeah, I started a band. And
And
now I wished I was still in it.
I know it's like to again work-life balance to find the time for your passions and hobbies. It's like, oh man.
Right. Well, so I asked you that question because, you don't really see a lot of female role models out there. Somebody that I see as a female role model for me is the CEO of Epic Systems, which is a um, electronic healthcare system. So number one in the world, Judy Faulkner, right?
Oh,
And so she had built this business from scratch, and now it's like a $8 billion business. And guess what? It's a private business.
oh,
It's
neat.
not on the market. She held it all back. And so I mean, she has done a awesome job. And then she built a campus
Yeah.
that rivals Microsoft's campus up in Seattle, but she built it in Michigan or somewhere out there. And it's beautiful.
How cool
Um,
is that?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and of course, I have role models too. Winston Churchill for me. I've studied him, and there's good things and bad things about him. But I really studied how he brought Europe back after World War II and turned it into a country, a profitable country again, versus all the famine and everything that they had, and after World War II.
Right.
But
Neat.
there's others out there, and I mentioned this last week. I also have some role models that and mentors that nobody's ever heard of, right? But they've overcome challenges and stuff like that, and so I've took my inspiration from them.
I love it. Yeah, all the people along the way that you are touched by is really, there to help you in life, incorporate some of their belief systems or the tools that they've taught you into your own job. And I think that's
Yeah.
really powerful,
Well,
whether it's a
so
female or male. Mhm.
so I'm going to guess, and I know you got to have some support groups, and there are networking uh, networks out there for women that specifically might be women only. I mean, you and I, we go to the Lucille's luncheons, or we've gone to mixers for various different things, and those are open to everybody. But are there very specific women-based networks that you belong to or that you know of out there?
Yeah, it's kind of fun because I took up sailing as a hobby when I moved to Newport Beach, and the Women's Sailing Association is just so wonderful because it's all women sailors. I mean, the name sailor is usually identified as a man, right?
Right.
Um, they came up with a female version, so now it's unisex. But I find that to be a powerful group to belong to because most of the women sailors in the group are very strong, prominent, breadwinner figures in the corporate world. Um, they're not just doing it as a hobby and they're homemakers. They're actually more of a strong, businesswomen that are part of the Sailing Association. So that I consider a networking group, but it's also a hobby that I love and enjoy. Um, and then, the chambers, you can join those for networking, but those are definitely unisex. I mean, male
Well,
and female.
yeah, yeah. What about what perks have you found being a woman entrepreneur? Are there perks out there that might not be privy to me per
I
se?
mean,
I mean,
I used to use the terminology sex sells, and I think it applies to men too, because I mean, you want to work with somebody that is appealing to look at. I mean, that's why we buy artwork and hang it in our home, and that's to each, person's eye of the beholder. What is appealing to them. And so I think that, gives you an edge if you are friendly and personable, but also present well. So I always say dress for success, no matter who or what you are, and let your gifts from the inside shine. And if you know what those are, you could really push those forward. And no matter, what you look like, you don't have to be, 5'6" and, tall, skinny, blonde hair and blue eyes. But, if you really know and identify and have that passion about your job and let that shine in front of your consumer, then I think you have an edge. I mean, I find working alongside some of these beautiful celebrity looking, model looking females, and they're just stunning. But, do they know how to do their job? I mean, it's not all about looks.
You
So just
know,
have that package is really
it,
cool.
it's funny. It's funny that you say that, right? Because I notice whether somebody's good looking or not good looking, but I completely ignore that. I'm
Yeah.
about the mind and what's in the head, and you know, how can I help you? How can you help me? Um, those are things that bubble to the top for me.
Yeah.
Whether you're good looking, bad looking, male, female, it doesn't matter to me. I'm looking
Right.
at how we can work together. Here's the challenge, and how do we, you know, come up with a solution for that challenge.
Yes. I have found men in like the chamber meetings and whatnot. If you're attractive, then they're going to want to help support your business growth. I find that to be an edge, for an attractive woman. They're there to, work alongside you because they want, to be in your presence and also to help you along the way and introduce you to other people. That's definitely been something that's come easy for me. Um, having to, meet new people all the time so that I can, potentially get a new referral client or whatnot. And I have to be friends with men because a lot of men are in the workforce and do own businesses. And now that I do business brokerage, I am around a lot of men. So,
Yeah.
um, you have to just accept the fact that they could be, you know, wanting to choose you for work because they're attracted to you, but, put that to the side and show them your capabilities. So, making sure that you keep all that in check. But yeah, it definitely has its perks for sure.
We got just a few minutes left, and you
Yeah.
bring something up, and I don't want to end the podcast on that note, but you mentioned looked and then men wanting to be around you and with you. Have you ever had situations where you felt
Oh
threatened
yeah.
and scared and oh no? I mean, I know you and I have had some not you and I, but I know that you've had some issues, and I've been there to kind of help guide you and get you out of the situation and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
unfortunately, sometimes that finds its way in the business that it has no place being.
Ah, yeah, it could be just such a time zapper because you don't know people's true intent. And so I'm always about the, getting to the finish line and making a sale and making a deal, go become a successful transaction. So, I was in a car with a client. This is back when we would drive clients around looking at property, and he kept,
Right?
putting offers out and he kept canceling them after we got in contract. So I was like, Henry, this is the third house. You're ruining my reputation because we're getting a contract, canceling them. The realtors on the other side are getting very frustrated. Well, one time we were out shopping for a home and he took my hand and kissed it in the car. And I said, that is so not appropriate. I understand, you're trying to express to me that you're interested in me personally, but I am only here to represent you in business. So that to me was very uncomfortable because I was, in an enclosed car and I was driving. But
Right.
I fired him. I didn't want to work with him anymore, especially after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know we've had a few clients or acquaintances that we've met that have we've had to kind of deal with. You've kind of had to deal with, and we've had some conversations about them and stuff like that. It's just like
Yes, yes. I
so.
mean, people do look down upon you because, again, because of how they were raised or cultural beliefs. So they treat you like, you don't know what you're doing. And that has definitely been, um, a, one of those things that, you just have to rise to the occasion and treat them respectfully, but also show them that that's not okay.
Right, definitely. Well, so now we've dug into the mind of Lisa Manifold and a little bit of history of what has brought her to this stage of her life. And we want to wish everybody here happy Mother's Day. Today is today is
Today
Mother's
is
Day.
Mother's Day.
So
Yeah.
happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. And with that, shall we call it a wrap?
We are going to wrap it up. So hopefully you guys have a great week and enjoy
Yes.
our podcast. And there's more to come next week.
There is. Don't forget, you can reach out to Lisa or myself at investquire.com. As well, you can find us on the Biz Show, our Facebook group. And we're more than happy to chat with you about any business needs that you might have. Or if you want to hear some specific topics on the podcast, reach out, let us know.
Please let us know. Yes, definitely.
All
Thank you,
right,
Barry.
guys. Thank
All
you,
right.
guys.
Have a
Bye.
great bye.
Thank you for listening to the Biz Show podcast. Subscribe to stay updated and follow Barry and Lisa on Facebook at The Biz Show. Share your comments or suggest specific business topics you'd like to hear. Bye!